Hello, Jonfanz. This is Jonfanz. Sorry for the delay, but now I'm going to be showing you some footage I captured from last weekend's Beta Weekend Event 3, commenting on what's happening in the footage, as well as how I feel about Guild Wars 2 as a whole. What you're seeing right now is a keep defense in the World vs. World open world PvP zone. All this footage is from World v World, but it shows different aspects of fighting in the zones as I go from battle to battle throughout the day. As you can plainly see, our keep is under siege from a group across the bridge. Luckily for us, we're staging a nice defense here, and we're doing rather well at keeping them at bay. Our siege weapons, you can see one being built there now, including an arrow card or two, are doing the most damage, but everyone's doing their part to help out. That's one of the things I really like about Guild Wars 2 is the ability to switch weapons and carry two sets of weapons into battle. It allows melee-centric players to carry a ranged weapon into battle in case a defense is necessary, so they can participate in the fighting as well. If I'm not mistaken, that actually holds true for all of the classes in the game, and that really is nice for everyone in case they're defending a keep in this instance. Conversely, every class also has a melee option. If that's more your style, you can definitely play in that same way. Moving on, I'm really actually incredibly impressed with the World vs. World zone. I was a big fan of open world PvP back in the Warhammer Online and Dark Age of Camelot days, and I think that Guild Wars 2 has really captured that feel, and that is what they set out to do, so I'm really happy about it. Luckily here I was able to survive and fight another day. What we're looking at now is the first push outside of the keep. I decided to run in, probably foolishly, and try and take out that ballista that almost killed me earlier. Right now, I don't have a lot of people behind me, and I think that's what leads to my eventual downing. Downing is a system in Guild Wars 2 that is a bit controversial with player base. In my experience, I didn't really notice it being a huge issue. Admittedly, it is pretty hard to die in Guild Wars, especially in the World v World zone, if you do your part and don't run out into the middle of things like I did just there. Thankfully, my team was able to come up behind me and get me back up. And we proceeded to take out their ballista and keep on pushing at them. The more people we have, the easier it is to force up, and with everyone reviving their teammates, even our NPCs, it really does help the flow of battle. It might look like we're overextending a little bit here, but there's actually a good reason for this. We're pushing out of the keep and we're heading towards one of the Green Realm's supply camps. You can see the little barrel on the top of the screen to the right of the timer. What that barrel represents is supply. In World vs. World, every character is able to carry 10 supply, and that is used to repair walls, repair doors, and also to build siege weapons. It's really imperative that we take out this camp as it starts starving one of the realms of their supplies. Without supplies, they're actually pretty much sitting ducks and have to retreat to their main fortress and start a resurgence. As you can see, we're pretty much wiping the floor on this one, and it's really not that difficult to take out a pack dolyak, which is what carries the supply from supply depots to other camps. And then we proceed to wipe out the few remaining NPC guards and begin to take the camp itself. After doing a few revives and killing the last remaining guards, we're able to go into the zone of capture that just appeared. One of the real weird things is that even if you help kill some of the guards of supply camps and fortresses, if you are not standing in this capture zone, you will not get any sort of contribution. It's really a thing that I hope they change in Guild Wars 2, and I really wasn't happy about it, but that's the system right now, and I think right now it's just best to learn to live with it. As you can see, we're now picking up the supplies at this depot. One of the best things for every player to do is always have 10 supply on them. This allows everyone to help out in the fights. Now we're going to skip ahead to a new battle. This is going to be in a different area. we left that supply depot and headed north, where there was actually a three-pronged attack happening. In our pairing, we were fighting Sorrow's Furnace and Stone Bluff Isle, and this is actually a fight from us, Jade Quarry from the south, Sorrow's Furnace from the west, and Stone Bluff Isle from the east. It was a great fight, and it happened outside one of the major keeps in the area. As you can see, we're just pushing in pretty slowly, and unfortunately, AoE does aggro some of the mobs in the area, so we have to deal with them as well. Luckily for us, Sorrow's Furnace and Stone Bluff Isle seemed pretty much focused on one another, giving us a chance to sneak in with limited forces and do a bit of damage. Unfortunately for us, we didn't stay under the radar for long, and the defenders, Sorrow's Furnace, decided to step out and do things about it. And here's when the beauty of three-faction PvP comes into play, because every time that Sorrow's Furnace decides to take our force on, the other faction is able to come in and do a bit of damage on the defenders as well. This really works to everyone's advantage, as it makes people a bit more careful. Unfortunately, we weren't very careful here, and I was barely able to revive one of my comrades before escaping from the onslaught. This was a pretty darn good fight, and we were able to escape with our lives and head back to the keep till things died down a little. After adding one of my guildmates into my party, it was back into the fray. And if you notice the levels on the two other people in my party, you'll notice that we're actually pretty low level. That's one of the great things about PvP in Guild Wars 2, is that you can jump in and go to structured PvP or world vs. world at any level once you're out of the basic starting zone. In structured PvP, you're boosted to level 80 and you're given a certain set of gear to put everyone on the same playing field. In World vs. World, you're still boosted to level 80, but you're not given trait points and you are not given any gear. Some people bemoan one side or the other. Personally, I enjoy three-faction PvP and World vs. World, and so that's where I'm going to spend most of my time. However, I've heard from friends and guildmates that structured PvP is a really great way for one team to pit their skills against another without underlying factors such as gear choice or the amount of people on either side. As you can see, Sorrow's Furnace is being pushed away right now, and that's really great for our little ragtag bunch here. At this point, our group started to slow down a little. We didn't have enough people to attempt to keep assault, and most of our realm was occupied in other areas. At first it looked like a stalemate in this, but the decision to retreat was made for us by a hard push from the defenders in order to wipe us out. While it might seem like they succeeded, being pushed back is far, far better than being killed outright. There's no real fast travel in the World vs. World zones, so being killed essentially sends you back to your main, uncashable keep in the region. That can be a real pain if you're striking deep into enemy territory, and making sure you don't get cut off and butchered is imperative. I'm not really sure if reinforcements came in or if players just simply flooded out of the keep, but as you can see, they were successful in at least pushing back our force to our controlled keep in the area. One thing I quickly learned in the beta, however, is that just because a first assault failed does not mean that the siege is over. Back and forth pushes are commonplace in World v. World, and sieges can last hours. I know of one during the weekend that started at noon Pacific time and ended 6 to 8 hours later. Of course, there was not constant fighting during the entire time, but it was one push after another from attackers and defenders. At this point, I jumped into the keep for a bit of a breather, but before I was able to get to the top of the walls, the attackers had already been pushed back. That's actually a really common thing, is that sides will push back a force until there's a bit of defense, and then retreat to a more safe distance in order to hold land. Skipping ahead, myself and a few others were able to join up with a larger group and participate in a keep siege. I arrived a bit late to the party and the door was almost down, but this gives you an idea of what to expect once inside a keep. Keep sieges are pretty standard to anyone who's played a open world PvP game, but just to give a refresher, the keeps in Guild Wars 2 have destructible gates as well as destructible walls, because these can all be repaired with supply, as I've said before. As we rush into the keep, you see a few key things. One is this bridge, and also is that there are hardly any defenders. That seemed like a commonplace thing in the beta weekend. Hopefully come launch there will be a lot more defense. Here, no, you cannot pick up supply from enemy teams. I was just kind of being a doofus. The main part is going and attacking the Tower Lord, or as it's normally called, a Keep Lord. As I said before in regards to the supply depot, even if you participate in the killing of the Tower Lord, you do not instantly get any sort of XP or other type of currency. You must be standing in the capture zone once the Tower Lord is down and the keep is being captured to receive the bonuses. Here it's kind of just explosions of color and sound, so I'm going to keep quiet for a minute. Alright, the keep has been captured, and those standing inside the capture circle have their reward. As I said in the supply depot segment, I hope that ArenaNet changes the system so that anyone who participates is given a reward, even if they don't stand inside the capture ring. That's how the system works in other parts of World v World, such as siege defenses. At this point, the group loses a little bit of focus, and myself and a few of their guildmates decide to have a little fun and quick little break. As people are asking, where to now is a really common question, as it's really beneficial for everyone to go to the same area at once. People do step up to the plate, though, and it's going to be nice for coordinators to be out in the field helping everyone work together. Well, that's about it for today, folks. Unfortunately, due to some computer issues and corruption of files, I was unable to record any more footage. A lot of great things happened during the beta weekend event, though, and I'm really excited for Guild Wars 2. Be sure to like and favorite this video, and subscribe to my channel so you'll be the first to know about more videos in the future. Have a nice day, and I'll see you all again come headstart and launch.